Last year I had the incredible opportunity to celebrate Christmas in Bethlehem, the very place where Jesus was born. I actually studied Arabic in Morocco, and one of my classmates from that Morocco program was teaching English in Palestine in Bethlehem. So I and a couple of our other classmates decided to go to Bethlehem to celebrate Christmas. We toured the church that stands in the very place where Jesus is said to have been born. And in the basement, there's actually a little star on the ground that's supposed to mark the exact birthplace of Jesus. A ton of people come here as part of different pilgrimages, and it's an extremely sacred site. We also attended a huge Christmas parade that happens every year in Bethlehem. I never knew this before, but scouting is a huge thing in Palestine. A ton of Christian Palestinians join scout troops and do service for their local communities. Another thing I was surprised by is that the main instruments used at the parade were drums and bagpipes. I always thought bagpipes were a Scottish thing, but apparently the oldest record of bagpipes was found in Anatolia in the Middle East. And like I said, Bethlehem, the birthplace of Jesus, is in Palestine. For some reason, a lot of people don't realize that Christianity started in the Middle East, not Western Europe or even New Jersey. There are a lot of Arab Christians who speak Arabic and call God Allah, because Allah is literally just the Arabic word for God. And Aramaic, Jesus' mother tongue, is still spoken in some parts of Syria even today.
Malula today is one of the few remaining places on the planet where Aramaic still survives. And it's not only Christians who speak the language of Jesus.
والحقيقة إنه اللغة الأرامية وحيتولون هن واحد شوحيت نخيط شو الفرق بين
Around half the local population of 5,000 is Muslim. At St. Tuckla's, the orphans are learning to recite the Lord's Prayer in Aramaic.
But the closest widely spoken language related to Aramaic is, of course, Arabic. Later that night, we went to the Lutheran Church in Bethlehem. The pastors and Christians were also praying for the end of the Israeli occupation, because they suffer under it as well. It is not only Muslims. On Orthodox Easter, Christians were also prevented from visiting the Church of the Holy Sepulchre.
The ceremony has been faithfully taking place in the Church of the Holy Sepulchre for nearly 2,000 years. We will hold the ceremony as customary for 2 millennia and invite all who wish to worship with us to attend.
And there were barricades across the old city of Jerusalem. Priests were also beaten in the streets for no apparent reason. However, I also was struck by the beautiful religious coexistence that exists in Palestine between Muslims and Christians. In the main square in Bethlehem, there was a massive Christmas tree across the street from a mosque that plays the call to prayer 5 times a day. Now you might be asking, how do young people celebrate Christmas? Despite living in an extremely conservative Arab country, young people still want to have fun and enjoy life. One Christian friend that I met there told me about how much the stress of living under apartheid affects him and his friends, and that like anywhere in the world, people party and drink in order to forget their problems, at least for a little while. Bethlehem is right on the edge of the border with Israel, which means there's a giant 9-meter tall, 3-meter wide concrete wall that runs along the side of the city, with intense checkpoints to restrict the movement of Palestinians as much as possible. People have painted symbols of apartheid and occupation on the wall in protest, but unfortunately it has not done much to change the situation. As we all know, since the Hamas attack on October 7th, Israel has stepped up arrests of thousands of Palestinians and killed over 20,000 Palestinians as of today. Over 300 Palestinians have been killed in the West Bank as well, despite Hamas having no presence there. And because of this destruction, the very church that I celebrated Christmas in last year decided to cancel all Christmas celebrations this year.
Israeli soldiers have been raiding towns and cities in the occupied West Bank. Bethlehem and Jenin have been targeted once again.
We're talking about more than 40 Palestinians who have been arrested as a result of those raids. And those raids have also happened here where I am in Bethlehem. This city around this time usually celebrates Christmas, usually is festive, but this year, all Christmas celebrations have been cancelled. Instead of having a Christmas tree that is decorated with ornaments, we're seeing baby Jesus wrapped in a Palestinian kufiyeh and is placed in a manger under the rubble.
Christmas celebrations are cancelled this year in Bethlehem for obvious reasons. It's impossible to celebrate when there is a massacre, a genocide taking place in Gaza with our people. And while the world is celebrating Christmas, at the birthplace of Jesus, this is what Christmas looks like. Jesus was born among the occupied. Baby Jesus is in solidarity with those who are suffering, with those who are oppressed. I think if Jesus is to be born today, he would be born under the rubble in Gaza with those who are suffering.
So that's what it's like to celebrate Christmas in Bethlehem last year and this year. Inshallah, next year will be better than both.